in section 1.4, solving literal equations is what this is really called. Your book titles it Rewriting an Equation or a Formula. That's also correct. I've always known it as solving a literal equation. This is kind of what algebra is all about. This is where you're going to solve for a variable in an equation. Okay, so starting with this one, solve for L in P equals 2L plus 2W. That's the first thing it says. So let's do that first, and then we'll go back and see what else we need to do. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can subtract 2W and then divide by 2, or you could factor the 2. Let's factor the 2. When we factor the 2, we're going to just divide by 2 now. So we've got P over 2 must equal L plus W, and then subtract the W. So L equals P over 2 minus W. Okay. L equals P over 2 minus W. Then it says find the length of a rectangle whose perimeter is 30 and whose width is 7. Piece of cake. L equals 30 divided by 2 minus 7. That's 15 minus 7. The length equals 8. Alright, here's an interesting problem. It says solve the literal equation for x, then use your general solution, which will be here, to solve the specific equation. So here we have an equation. We're going to solve for x in this equation. Then we're going to use that solution to solve for x over here. They're very similar. We've got A, B, C, D, so here's A, B, C, D. Let's solve this equation for x. We must move all the x's to one side, all the other things to the other side. So let's subtract CX and subtract B. So subtract CX and subtract B. These guys go away, these guys go away. But we're left with AX minus CX equals D minus B. Now here, we can't combine them because we don't know what A and C are. But we can factor. We can factor an x. So let's do that. X times A minus C equals D minus B. Now divide by A minus C. So x equals D minus B divided by A minus C. And I'm putting this A minus C in parentheses, even though having this entire fraction bar means you have to do this subtraction first. It's just an extra reminder that you have to do the A minus C on the denominator before you do that division. Okay, so now we're going to use this. X equals D minus B over A minus C, and we're going to solve this equation. So this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D, right? Okay, so X equals D minus B, so 10 minus 2 over A minus C, 5 minus 3. When we do that, we get 8 over 2, so X equals 4. So we did a few steps here, but solved that in like 2. Next one, same type of situation. Solve for y, then find the value of y when x is negative 2. So this first one, we're going to add x to both sides. That's going to leave us with 5y equals 13 plus x. Divide by 5. Y equals 13 plus x divided by 5. Okay, we solved for y. Now, find the value of y when x is negative 2. Plug in negative 2. y equals 13 plus negative 2 over 5. So y equals 11 over 5. And we can leave our answer as a fraction. I like that. Next one. Same directions. 4y minus xy equals 28. Okay, this one, we can't just subtract the x because x has a y with it. 4 has a y with it. We have to factor. So let's factor out a y. We've got 4 minus x equals 28. Now divide by 4 minus x. Y equals 28 divided by 4 minus x. Plug in x equals negative 2. Okay, minus the negative is plus the positive. So we've got 28 over 6. We need to reduce that fraction. The greatest common factor is 2. So when we divide by 2, we get 14 thirds. I like 14 thirds much, much better than something like 4.67. Okay, 14 thirds would be much better than 4.67. Okay, last problem. A bookstore sells t-shirts for $15 each and sweatshirts for $22 each. Write an equation for the revenue R selling M t-shirts, green, and N sweatshirts. Okay, so we've got $15 each for t-shirts, so R is going to equal 15 times M plus 22 times n. Okay, here we can have two variables. Now we're going to solve for m. So we're going to subtract the 22. So 15m equals r minus 22n. Divide by 15. M equals r minus 22n divided by 15. Okay, we're going to remember that because we're going to use that in just a couple of seconds. Okay, R equals, not R, M equals R minus 22n over 15. Alright, for R to be $6,660 in sales for these items, the t-shirts and the sweatshirts, how many t-shirts were sold if 50 sweatshirts were sold? 150. Plug in the 150 for N, plug in the 6,660 for R. M equals 6,660 minus 22 times 150. All over 15. For this one, it's perfectly fine to grab your trusty calculator, friend. And find out that 224 t-shirts were sold. Okay. Now, before class, I would like you to try to get these problems done. And then we will do these in class because these are the story problems, the more challenging ones, and that way you can discuss with your group mates and me and not get stuck doing a bunch of little tedious things here. If you have questions on these, that's fine. You can ask them when I see you. Thank you.